Welcome to the 5 for 2 podcast with me, your host Adele, where we say no to careers where you're trading 5 days of misery for 2 days of fun. A place we discuss all things career, confidence, and money moves. I want to motivate, teach, and empower ambitious women to achieve more, earn more, feel more confident, and enjoy the work they do. It's all about believing you can have everything you want in your career and then going and getting it. So if you're ready, let's get into it. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode. Today we are talking about taking action. This episode is for all my perfectionists and my people that feel like they need to research the hell out of things or that they need to have all the answers before they can get started on anything. And then before they know it, 10 years has passed and that idea that you had, you still haven't started. That side hustle that you had, you still haven't started. That salary that you've been saying you want to aim for, you still haven't gone for. The new job, the new industry, the job title, whatever it is, you spent so much time researching, so much time trying to get all the answers and making everything perfect. You're exactly where you were 5 years ago. You're exactly in the same place you were 3 years ago. The only difference is you have more information. You have all this knowledge, but you have not put any of it to good use. And I would say all the time, knowledge is power, but only if you know how to use it. Yeah? You hear all the time, knowledge is power. It's all about knowledge. Knowledge is only powerful if you know how to use it. Having the information in your brain is not helpful unless you can translate that into a result, money, a new job, something different in your life, whatever it is. But the knowledge is just the knowledge if you're not utilizing it. So today's episode is called Action Over Answers. And the reason I wanted to do this episode is because the truth is we're all just making it up as we go along. I think some people really think that everyone's got it all together and knows what they're doing. So if you've ever felt out of place at work or in your life, or like everyone else knows way more than you and they know what they're doing, I'm here to let you know we're all just making it up, including me. We are figuring it out as we go along. Even when we think we have all the answers, life throws us a curveball when we realize that we didn't have all the answers. I remember even in my new job, everyone was like to me, oh my gosh, you've learned so much so quickly. Like, we come to you and you know the answers. I know nothing. At the beginning of my new job, then first 6 months, oh my gosh, I did not realize how hard it would be to be part-time and learn a job. I've always kind of been like 3 or 4 days a week. So going to 2 days, I did not realize how big of a jump that would be and how different it would be to learning. Like, how do you learn your job when you're only there 2 days a week? And everyone's not always in on the days that you're in. So then you can't get the information you need. It was a minefield. Now I feel really confident in my job. It's been a couple of years. But those first 6, 9 months, oh my gosh, I felt like I knew nothing. It was horrible. But people thought I knew everything. The reason they thought I did was when they were asking me questions, I would go away and try and find the answer and then go back to them. So yeah, you think that I know what's going on, but in the surface, when you're asking me questions, I was like, oh my gosh, please don't ask me. Underneath, I was the most panicked human being in the world. But on the surface, I can be quite like just looking really confident, quite stoic. Like, you're not going to tell what's going on underneath. But underneath, I am a nervous wreck because I don't know what I'm doing. I remember starting this job and they used abbreviations for everything. Oh my, I never knew what anyone was talking about. They would abbreviate everything. I would be like, what does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean? I felt like a fool because I was like, is this what people do? But it just happened that that's the culture there. They abbreviate everything. They shorten everything. When I say everything, everything. So I would just be like, yeah, I don't know what those 2 letters mean. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. Like, it was a nightmare. Emails were full of like just shortening of words, couple letters that would mean like 2 words, like horrible. And that's what I mean when I say we're all just making it up as we go along. Because whether it's your manager, that manager that you know that doesn't know anything, but somehow they're the manager, or the manager you always go to and you think they have all the answers, but they've probably gone to their manager or gone somewhere else to ask or to research or Googled or gone to LinkedIn to get the information to come back to you to let you know. And people will always say to me, when you was in HR, you probably knew everything. How? Employment law is always changing. There are basics that stay the same, but there are always things that are changing, being updated, being made better. Like legislation is always changing, rules are always changing. Every time we get a new government, something changes. How on earth would I know everything? I remember there was a point where I thought I needed to know everything. And because I didn't know everything, I would take lower salaries, I would take rubbish titles because I was like, oh, I don't know everything. No, you don't need to know everything. Because everything's not going to come up in your job every day. Everything might not come up in, I remember the 2 years I was a HR manager, everything didn't come up. There's things I've dealt with now that I didn't deal with then. Because all the things are not going to come up. You're not always going to get a grievance. You're not always going to have to restructure your company and lay people off. Like every job is not the same. So I don't need to know all the things. I need to know whatever my job needs from me at that moment. And there's no way of me guessing. And this is what I'm talking about for all the perfectionists. There is no way of you guessing what anybody needs from you at any given time. There is literally no way. So it is better to just take action and then figure out the answers as you go along. You can't know all the things. I spoke to someone recently on a call and she was talking about how she's a perfectionist and she hasn't started her business because she like her side hustle because she hasn't got all the pieces in place and she's been trying to work on it for the last couple of years, but there's more things to do. And I said to her, perfection to you is not perfection to other people. And she was like, what? And I was like, perfection to you is not perfection to other people. So if you're a perfectionist and you're working on something and you're like, I've got to get everything perfect before it goes out, and then you put it out there and someone like me sees it and I don't like what you like, or I don't think what you think is perfect. I'm like, oh no, that's not good. And you're like, but I spent all this time making it perfect. That's the problem. You can only make it perfect for you because until you test it in the market, you don't know if other people are going to like it. And this is why if you're a perfectionist, you get your feelings hurt a lot of the time. I know this as a recovering perfectionist. You get your feelings hurt all the time because you will do something. You'll spend hours and hours getting things right and then put it out there and your boss is like, no, I don't like it. I had to start to realize I don't need other people to validate everything I do. Of course, when it's work, if it's business, there are certain things that have to be validated or they're not going to be able to be used. So what I try to understand is let me get something together to the best of my ability, doesn't have to be perfect, and let me put it out there. If something is wrong, I'll fix it. Because even when nothing is wrong, people will still not like it because opinions are different. What I like and what you like are different. So what you think is perfect, someone else just might not. And then you spend all that time making it perfect, but no one else likes it. When you could have done the thing, put it out there, then if no one likes it, you can tweak it a bit and do a bit more. But you know when you've put all your time and energy making something perfect and then nobody likes it or it doesn't work out the way you wanted, you don't want to go back to the drawing board. Whereas if you've done some of it and then you put it out there and then people are like, oh, it still needs tweaks. You're like, okay, cool. Then you tweak it because you haven't, it's not blood, sweat and tears. It's not everything you had in you for someone to beat it up and say, this is trash. It is always better to try and test things out. That's how you progress. Always progress over perfection. Always action over answers. I know they sound really easy to say, but not always easy to do. But just think about it. Having all the answers, has that helped you? How has that helped you in your career? Just think about it for a minute. Having all the answers, has it helped you in your career? Taking hours to get things perfect, has it helped you in your career? Has it helped you get the promotion? Has it helped you get the 6-figure salary? Has it helped you add 50K to your salary when you tried to negotiate? How has it helped you? Or have you done the work and someone has still found fault? We are all just figuring it out as we go along. I've sat in rooms with people where I've been like, oh my gosh, they're so smart. And I felt like the dumbest person in the room. And just for the person who I think is super smart, has like 2 degrees and a master's, and then has come to me and been like, oh my gosh, Adele, you said this thing and I can't believe it. I've never thought of it like that. When I listen to you, you're amazing. And I'm looking at them like, what? I'm amazing. I don't even understand half the words that you use. You're that intelligent. But this is what I'm saying. All the people that you look up to and think are smarter than you, they probably have looked to you or people that you don't think are that smart and been able to get something from them. Because everything is just like people's perspective. So while you're worrying and thinking, everyone's smarter than me, everyone knows way more than me, they're thinking the exact same thing. They're just not showing it. Think about a job description. Just think of job descriptions for 1 minute. I love talking about job descriptions because when you've been in recruitment or been in human resources, you realize that job descriptions can sound super scary. They'll be using all these big words that sound fancy. But then when you do the job, it's not that complex. How many times have you read a job description versus when you do your job, you're like, no, it's not that complex. You just made it sound good. You just wanted it to sound really complex. You don't end up needing half the skills that they even put on a job description. I have read so many job descriptions where they have all these skills that I need. And when I start the job, I don't need any of them. I actually need a different set of skills that they haven't even mentioned in the job description. Job descriptions are there to intimidate people. They're there to make you think that, wow, we're so sophisticated, our roles are so complex, when actually it's pretty straightforward. It's pretty A, B, C. But they've made it like X, Y, Z. They've made it as complex as they possibly can. That helps eliminate people as well. When a job description is really complex, it makes people think, oh, it's too hard, I'm not even going to apply. Helps them with their job adverts and like when people look at the job description, they're like, oh no, I don't think I can do this job. Do you know people that I've said, oh, you could go for this job, and they're like, oh no, I've read it and I haven't done this, and I've said to them, oh, this just means this, and they're like, oh, I do that all the time. Exactly. They've used fancy words that you just didn't understand what the word meant. Whenever you read a job description, and this is just a tip for anyone, I always tell my clients to do this. If you read a job description and you like the look of it, but then there's bits in it that you're like, I've never done that, just Google or go to AI and ask, what does this exactly mean? What does this entail? Because I bet 9 out of 10 times it's something that you already do, but you word it differently. It's something that you already have a good understanding of, but you didn't understand it the way they said it. Like, I remember the first time I heard the term matrix management, like our teams are set up and they're managed in like a matrix system. And I was like, a what system? And all it meant was they're not directly necessarily line managed by the person that you think they would be. They might be line managed by someone else, but they work in a team with a different senior member. Like, the matrix model is just different from the traditional, like, standard hierarchy model. I never knew that. I didn't know it until I knew it. I didn't need to know it. It never came up. And then people were like to me, oh, but you've worked for big companies. Cool. They just didn't call it that. This will always happen. It's no different from someone being called customer services versus client services, or no. And some people call customers clients and clients customers, and they use it interchangeably. And some people don't. Some people call them customer representatives versus customer service agents. Like, it's the same job description, different titles. Marketing coordinator, marketing executive. HR generalist, HR executive. Same jobs, different titles. Job descriptions are the same. Bullet point could be something you do all the time. You just haven't heard it worded like that. You just have never read it like that. So you think, oh my gosh, I can't do it, can't apply. Whole time, you do it every single day. You just don't use that same sophisticated language. Sometimes I look at people's CVs and I'm like, oh my gosh, you've totally undersold yourself. And the only reason they've undersold themselves is because they haven't used enough complex words. They haven't used enough sort of the fancy lingo or the industry talk. That's the only reason. But when I speak to them, I'm like, oh my gosh, you're so good at what you do. The reason you're not booking interviews is you've undersold yourself. And this does not mean go and get a thesaurus and just start changing every word. It makes me think of that episode of Friends. If you watch Friends, you know what I'm talking about. When Joey writes that letter to the adoption agency and he uses a thesaurus for every single word. This is not what I'm asking you to go and do. I'm just saying to you, understand that sometimes they are using one or two complex words and it will throw off the whole sentence, or it will throw off the whole vibe of the job description. And you'll be like, I don't know what I'm doing. I need to go away and get a new qualification, or I need to go and learn more. I need to take a junior position so I can get more. When actually, you just need to take action. You need to apply for the job, go for the interview, and see if you get it. This episode is literally to encourage you to take action. Perfection does not exist. You cannot possibly have all the answers. When I started my business, I didn't even have a name. Let's go start there. I didn't even have a name for my business, but I knew I was going to start. I was coaching. I couldn't know all the answers. Things have happened that I couldn't have even thought would happen. And I've learnt from them and I've moved. It's the same with everything in life. You can try and think of every possible scenario that could happen, and someone or something will throw a scenario that wasn't even in your radar, wasn't even on your thought process. So if you currently have an idea for a business that you've been thinking of for years but haven't started, I want you to take the first action. That might just be setting up your social media page. Start posting. You can learn as you go. And people will say like, oh, but if I do it wrong, it's going to look bad. Guys, I have posted things on my page before and gone back and been like, why is there a spelling mistake? Why did I put that when it was meant to be than with an N? And people have already liked it. They've already shared it. Do you know what? I'm not changing it now. I could take it down and put up a new, but I'm not doing it. It happens. And you're going to be listening to this and saying, Adele, don't you write CVs? Shouldn't you be proofreading? Yes, when I'm doing a CV, I proofread. When I'm writing a post, not so much. Not all the time. Not so much. Look at Instagram, for instance. When you put the captions, you'll be speaking on a video and then you put the caption so that it can put the words. So some people might not listen to it with sound. They can just read what you're saying. How often does Instagram captions get what you're saying totally wrong? Same with TikTok. You'll be saying one thing and it will hear what it thinks you said and write that. And you'll sometimes be reading and you'll be like, that doesn't make sense. And you can guess what the person was meant to say because the captions are wrong. Now, if big companies like that can get the captions wrong, why are you stressing about perfection? Again, perfection for you is not perfection for me. Perfection for you will not necessarily be perfection for the people you sell to if you're in business. Perfection for you may not be perfection for your boss. So while you're spending all that time trying to make it perfect, it could still end up being wrong because of the simple fact that perfection is an opinion. Unless you're in a job where like law and stuff like that, where the law is the law, there are always going to be different objectives. People are going to like different things. So instead of trying to be perfect, instead of trying to have all the answers, whatever answers you have already, use those to start taking action, to start moving. Whether that's, I want to negotiate a bigger salary. All I know how to do is share my results. That's it. Go and do it. You don't need to know anything else. Try. If that doesn't work, then next time you need to add something else in. What else can you add in? You can't know all the things. Even if you practice and do your research, you cannot know all the things. There is always going to be something that comes up that you don't have the answer to. But guess how you find the answer? By letting that thing come up, by doing the thing, taking action, letting a question come up, and then you learning what the answer is. I promise you, that is how a lot of people are managers, leaders, senior leaders, CEOs. I had a CEO once say to me, the reason I'm a CEO of so many companies is I know what I can't do and I hire other people to do that. So the CEO is not trying to be perfect, but you're out here trying to be perfect. Make it make sense. Start taking that action. What's one thing you can do this week or this month towards a goal that you have? It doesn't have to be your career. It can be any goal. What goal do you currently have that you can take action towards? Go do that this week. Go do it this month. And then let me know in the comments. Come back and let me know. How did it feel when you took action? Was it as bad as you thought it was going to be because you didn't have all the answers? Or have you now made progress? I already know the answer. But let's see. So I'm challenging all my perfectionists, all the people that need answers before they take action. I'm challenging you to take action, one action, either this week or this month towards a goal that you've had for a long time. And then either let me know on LinkedIn, Instagram, or in the comments of this show how that went. Anyway, guys, I'm going to end it there and just remind you it's action over answers. I'll speak to you in the next episode. Bye. I hope this episode gave you exactly what you needed and motivated you to confidently take steps towards your next career move. If you enjoyed it, screenshot and share it on your socials, tag me on Instagram, and come join my community of amazing women working on leveling up their confidence and careers. Thanks for listening and see you next time.